Welcome back. We had a quick break, and we're going to be kicking off, what'll be session 0.99999 of our Vecna start. So we are kicking off our Eve of Ruin Vecna campaign here. One second, it hasn't refreshed for me yet. There we go. Cool. And the party has just 2 years ago, managed to capture a cultist of Vecna, turn them over to Lord Neverember, and now we're about to do their glow up. They are going from the level 3 characters we met them at to level 10 characters. And what I'm going to be asking them to do is let me know what they've been doing over the 10 years since then. We're going to do this season by season. Fall is when this particular adventure happened, so they're dealing with that sort of stuff, and they're now heading into winter. If they went to earn their Friend of Neverwinter certificate, they need to serve 3 more seasons. If they don't care about their Friend of Neverwinter certificate and they're good with their bag of 100 gold, they can not do that. At the end of this, they will be getting pulled back together from wherever they happen to be. But we'll start off by asking, what has everybody been doing? Would you like me to just pick a person, or do we have volunteers to tell us what they're doing that first winter?
Well, I've got one quick question. I
Sure.
heard you say 2 years and 10 years.
Sorry, 2 years to get to level 10. Sorry.
Okay.
So 2 years. So we're going to go through 2 years worth of stuff happening to get to level 10.
Yep. All right. I'll volunteer to go first.
Sure, you got it. So what has Montgomery been
So
up to the winter after this encounter?
he will stay here and work to get his letter.
Okay.
So he will stay in town and do whatever he and Kavori are working on.
Sure. So keeps working with Kavori, keeps working with that. As some feedback, Delvin seems rough. So as you're working with him, Delvin never seems to quite recover. He never sings again. He seems to be drained of all those little things that made him a boisterous personality. He seems to have forgotten everything but the most common of knowledge. He gets by. He can still do some work, but he's no longer able to do investigation. Kavori is now kind of taking care of all that for him. Who else is doing something in winter?
I can go ahead and go.
Sure.
So I'd say for this first season, Duren carries out his mercenary duties, in the streets, but just continuously kind of consumed by the missing pieces of his past. And so, while these, patrols might seem like mundane tasks, the only distraction I have is this kind of gnawing void in my mind of where there used to be memories.
Sure. Still chewing away at you. Las-Dal,
Yeah.
Loktar, Telovere, Fortune?
Yeah, I'll go.
Las-Dal, you got it?
Las-Dal would still work in the area.
Mhm.
He would probably talk to Kavori and keep close ties with Delvin. He would try to learn the arts of stealth and working his way in with these types of people.
Okay.
Trying to take over learning how to find who these people are.
Sure.
That's
Now,
something he would slowly be working on.
art of stealth. Kavori is sort of the noble side of stealth, scout-like. Assassin style of stealth definitely exists in Neverwinter. Which sort of leaning is it? Is it more fleet of foot and true of aim, or is it shadows?
He wants to be more of the shadowy side to make it look like he would actually belong with this type of people.
Okay.
The cultists.
Oh, okay. To blend in with the cultist. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So dipping a little dark there. All right. Fortune, Telovere, Loktar.
Yeah, I'll go with Fortune.
Sure.
During the winter, Fortune kind of starts spending a lot more time actually at the library when he's not doing his patrols, taking a big interest in just studying maps and seeing what the continent is like and trying to plan essentially a trip after he earns his certificate.
Sure. Absolutely. A thing that you will notice, maps of Neverwinter itself are outlawed. So while there are map stores and of the surrounding area, maps of Neverwinter just don't exist.
That's fine.
And that causes all sorts of trouble for people who have to do planning for maps, like plumbing and sewers and construction. They're not allowed to exist, so they're all just one plot of land on a piece of paper isolated from everything else around it. It's a little infuriating. Montgomery or Loktar?
It's for the first season, right?
Yep,
That's what
first
you're
season, first
asking?
winner.
Yeah, he would definitely stick around and continue to help with the mercenary work, patrolling the city, try to investigate more into this strange cult. Also, I think he would spend a lot of his off time going to the shrines and exploring gods and figuring out, and asking the others here about their cultures. Just trying to learn more. He's just trying to learn a lot about other cultures and other gods and what they offer. He'll even kind of half-heartedly open his mind to, using the thing, but never use it.
Okay.
He's going to hold off on
The
that.
temptation's there. So one of the things you'll pick up there, Ogma, yes, Ogma, Ogma, can't say the word.
Ogma?
Ogma, yes, god of inspiration, invention, and knowledge, is big in Neverwinter. He housed the House of Knowledge, which is one of the main temples there. So as far as people you're getting leaned into, he as well as Torm are two of the people that you would see presented as gods. And two of the sets there. That's going to bring us to, I think, Telovere is our last winter soldier. What are you up to?
So, Telovere, unlike the others, doesn't spend a lot of time patrolling the streets.
Okay.
But instead turns his attention to the undead and the graveyard.
Okay.
Because that's his area of expertise and skill. He starts trying to work more closely with the dead guides there.
Yep.
And really start pushing little almost like fortresses in a way to help fight off whatever is rising out of there.
Sure. And that is an ongoing struggle throughout this entire set. You make a little headway, it pushes back. Every time one of yours dies, they just rise it back up again. Every time you kill one of theirs, they don't care, they just raise it back up again. So it's a constant struggle there. That'll take us into spring of the next year. I'll run down the line. Las-Dal, what are you doing spring of that year?
Still working on the stealth and working his way in, but also looking to pick up forgery.
Okay.
Looking to learn differences between the types of books and what could and couldn't pass for something the cults use. He's trying to figure out ways to see their books and maybe replace them in the future.
Sure. Absolutely. Now, among the things that the cults are known for is putting the most horrific things that they can imagine down on paper. So one of the ways that they dissuade and sort of sort themselves out is sort of a bragging rights as to how demented a thing you can think up is. So when you're starting to try and forge things, you want to think up the worst, most awful, depraved thing and make sure you've got that in the kind of the crib notes and on the sides. Jot down your worst inclinations and ideas. It's rough stuff. Duren, what are you up to that spring?
So, as the snow melts, so too does a sliver of Duren's resolve.
Okay.
He experiences, flashbacks and kind of this kind of sense of impending doom. And really more just the stuff that's going on in his head has began to make him kind of question his sanity. He's just doing this monotonous work of patrolling every day. As he used to be someone who traveled around all the time. And so this big change of, I was locked in prison for so long, and I finally got to go out, and I can't even do the things that I, used to do.
Would
So yeah, he's starting to kind of lose it, but not like lose it.
He's getting
Just like
the
it's in the
wanderlust
back.
kick in.
Yeah, just kind of like it's just incessant in the back of his head.
would it be obvious? Like, would Duren be sharing that with us?
I don't know, not at all. Very stoic. Like yeah. Outward appearance, you have no idea what's going on in his head.
Just for the clarification too, Tracker or Fortune would be talking about planning a trip as soon as the year is done. So you would definitely be hearing him talk about going on a journey for a while during this time.
Okay, great. So Fortune is basically trip planning then. In
And
spring, is that
probably
fair?
training with Kavori for survival and stuff as well.
Got it. Anywhere in particular that you're picking out to go? Mountains and desert were something that you happened to mention, and Kavori's like, there's a mountain right there, and there's the desert out east. We could go hit up either.
Can we get to the desert because it's pretty far, isn't it?
It's pretty far. It would be probably 2-3 months travel, or 2-3 seasons travel out and back. So when you got done, that would be an out and back, over the course of 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's kind of where he was thinking of going to after the year was done.
Okay.
So probably while he's still working in Neverwinter, it would be learning to survive in the forest and in the mountains.
Cool. Sounds good. Who did I miss so far? Loktar. What are you doing in spring?
At some point, he would erect a shrine to the trilogy of Bugbear Gods, and
Okay.
whether or not people approved of that, he wouldn't really care. He would just kind of, welcome anybody who was curious about it to ask questions, and anyone who had a problem with it, he would glare them down and, send them on their way. Also, anytime we were dealing with ruffians and thugs, and perhaps one of them falls in combat, he might collect a little bit of their, blood that they left over as a sacrifice. Try to do a regular blood sacrifices to the.
Okay.
Without being too
so
big
I'm going to
and
say
showy about it.
nobody really approves of the Bugbear Gods. They're pretty aggressive, grumpy set of gods there. But you're an upstanding citizen. As long as you don't start doing some of the things that they say you should do, they're willing to be like, all right, well, how about if you think about your gods this way? So, you've got it up and you're like, we should give up this stuff for a god. And they're like, that sounds a lot like this pyramid scheme that this guy Telovere was telling us about. Maybe you shouldn't do that.
But I think Loktar would do enough research into their gods and find the little, dirty things that they did over time. I'm sure they've all done some things that weren't necessarily.
I am sure that there's a little voice in the back of your
Yeah.
head that's saying, "Oh yes, dig for secrets about the gods." Montgomery, what are we doing during the spring?
So spring's in the air. He's going to start researching more arcana and stuff,
Okay.
starting to line up for when he's, drops progressing in cleric and starting his wizardly pursuits.
Sure.
So he'll go ahead and start working on that background. He'll also start trying to put out some feelers about his family that he's totally lost touch with.
Got it.
It's
Now,
unknown right now whether he will find any of them or not because there's so many years had passed.
Do you have
Yeah.
clairvoyance?
Yeah, I
that
got
your-
the clairvoyance. Yeah, and I haven't used it.
it's there just waiting for you. Now, Montgomery, I believe in your backstory you did mention a prophecy. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you catch the prophecy trigger?
Did I catch it meaning what you had put out there, or catch that something already passed and I missed it?
This is one of those, because we're doing things quick. I didn't have enough time to plant all the seeds. But let's go with this one. Followers of a certain god are known as magpies, of which
Yes.
one has stopped singing.
Oh, right, exactly. Okay, yeah, I did miss that.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to find it in my notes right now. I remember something about that.
Yep. So
I'm in the
a
wrong
flag
place.
has been sent up on that set, but we got our researching into the arcane going on there. Telovere, what have we got going on for you for spring?
So once I kind of like get established as a wizard
Mhm.
in Neverwinter, I really like try to invest in setting up my own little lair in a way.
Okay.
So I'll go into like the areas around the chasm and just see if I can locate any old rat-infested like catacombs, and I'm gonna go clear out for them.
Sure. You're elbow to elbow with other cultists doing the same thing.
Exactly.
So what I'm going to say is probably every time you really get set up and settled in, there's a reason you have to move shop.
That's fine.
So you haven't quite managed to establish a lair yet, but you've got enough little places that you've made your own for a short time that it doesn't get in your way. You get your experiments done, you clear out, but you haven't built a real stronghold yet. Fair?
That's fine.
Cool.
That's perfectly fine with me.
You got it. I think that takes care of us for springs, which brings us into summer. Let's go reverse order. Telovere, what are you doing in summer?
So for summer, he really tries to double down on like expanding his talents.
Mhm.
He's kind of worked to get himself set up where he's not going to be completely reliant on Neverwinter,
Mhm.
but while continuing with his duties, like helping defend the graveyard and all that, he works to connect himself with other local freestanding wizards and necromancers, hopefully, that are outside of the guild,
Sure.
because he wants to try and avoid guild attachments if he can.
You can definitely do so, and congratulations. Here's your Friend of Neverwinter certificate. Thank you for your year of service. Let's bump to Montgomery. Montgomery, how about summer for you?
Um, I guess now I'm gonna now thinking back on the prophecy. I totally forgot about that in the magpie. I'm gonna turn my focus more to Devlin, and just to see if there's anything that I can find out more there, or even to help him.
Sure. So spending some time with Devlin and knowing what you had heard about what's going on, he underwent the rite that you interrupted, that Zalrin was performing. His secrets were pulled from him, but because his secrets were not in service of the Whispered One, they turned on him. They poisoned him on the inside, and as they pulled out from him, they damaged him. So they took more because he was hiding his whole person from the cult. He was being untrue. His entire personality was a secret at that point. So his entire personality was pulled from him, leaving only the shell that remained, that little bit of truth that's still there. So they know he had a sister, so he still remembers his sister. They know he knew how to eat, how to drink, that was true and honest, so he can still eat and drink. But anything that he had tried to disguise is gone. There seems to be no way to get it back, at least no way that you've found so far, because his secrets were pulled from him and then are now gone.
That's pretty sad.
It's a rough day.
It's a rough day for Devlin.
Rough day for Devlin. He did remember one or two things, though. He remembered he had a sister, and he remembered he needed to get to her. But a lot else was lost there.
And how's Kavori taking all this?
Rough. She considers it almost to have been a hero's death, but he's still here.
Still alive, right? Yep.
So she treats him well. She always looks a little sad when he's around, when he forgets a thing. But they're getting by. Not to impinge on anybody's real world tragedies with it, but kind of an Alzheimer's kind of thing. It's happy that they're still there. It's sad that they're not like they used to be.
Right.
That kind of situation is what she's facing, but inflicted by someone else.
Does he, if you don't mind me jumping in here real quick,
Sure, absolutely.
so he lost the stuff that he had, but does he still have the capability? Like, does he learn new skills or differences? He's not the same person, but he is still like kind of growing again as a person.
He is growing again as a person, but a lot of the sparks that he had to want to learn things, he's now a grown adult. He's lost childlike wonder. He's had a lot of the mystery in his life pulled away, and he's now left with, I already know how to do these things, but I don't know why I know how to do these things. So teaching him anything new is a little bit rough. He's kind of lost that spark, because he's lost all the mystery. You know, that little bit that the gods give you, that adventuring spark got ripped out. But yes, you can teach him new things, just not as easy. And that's what Kavori is spending a lot of time doing, is, reintroducing him, trying to get him excited about stuff, but he just never seems to quite lock on. Fortune, is that what you're doing during summer? Are you spending time with Delvin as well?
So yeah, I had a couple things in mind for his summer.
Sure.
Continuing with the his routes, he begins to spend a bit more time on his kind of going around the city, focused on finding secrets.
Okay.
He kind of begins stashing up some secrets as part of his job, whether or not that's part of the job. But and then along with that, does spend a lot of time around Kavori and Devlin, still learning and planning the trip for after the year's over, and he's just actively, kind of around Devlin by habit there.
Sure. Now, secrets that you're sneaking around looking for. The one that would play into what you were doing earlier would be doing some map making, some clandestine map making. Is that what the secrets you're looking for, or are you looking for more like political kind of things?
Yeah, he's more looking to pick up anything politics or like things that the crime families might be doing.
Sure.
Just any secrets of the underworld or the political world that he does come across. Like,
Sure.
you might
So
not find a ton.
At the highest level, the scandal of the day is always Lord Neverember. He is the center of the scandal situation, and the constant thing that goes around that is whether he really has a claim to Neverwinter. It comes, it goes. There's been small riots, there's been uprisings, things like that. Nobody really has the answer, but it is the conversation of the day. In between Neverember and Down, then we've got the gangs that are establishing themselves. The western side of the eastern side of the city is still pretty ramshackle, so they're not the organized crime of Waterdeep. They're more the gangs holding territory of a frontier-style city, and you can get involved with a couple of those. One that we've alluded to but haven't pointed out is a little bit gangish. The bathhouse. That is run there is a front for a gang. They launder more things than clothes there. So if you do need a fence, they are willing to help you out there. A couple other contacts along the way. And also, thank you for your service. You get handed one, and then they forget, and they also hand Montgomery their certificates. Friends of Neverwinter, indeed. Las-Dal, what have we got for you for summer?
He continues his training, but he does go back and try to help with Devlin's memories. Normally, playing tunes that he enjoyed when they were at the taverns. Seeing, if that would help any at all at times. I'm just fishing around for information and yeah.
Sounds good. Duren and Loktar, summer events.
Yeah, I can go.
Sure.
So I'd say the heat of the summer mirrors Duren's growing frustration. as he patrols alongside other mercenaries, he observes their brutal efficiency, their willingness to exploit every advantage and fight dirty when necessary, while a stark contrast to the knightly ideals that he once held. He's kind of realizing that in this new world outside of the Feywild, survival and vengeance kind of require a different approach than his old paladin ways.
Okay.
And this is my I'm gonna give him classes and fighter. So that is where he's eventually going to take this, but
Okay.
as of right now, we have not used our power.
We have not used our power yet, but you have continued your patrol, so congratulations. You and
Yes.
Las-Dal have both earned your Friends of Neverwinter certificates. Thank you for your service. Neverember does present those to you all with considerable ceremony. Now, Duren, I will ask, I'm getting the feeling that you might have been looking down your nose at some of those other mercenaries from a time. You're learning from them, but maybe thinking
Yeah,
you're
at
better
first
than
I was like, these guys have no honor, no nothing, no respect for actual how you fight and taking care of people. And then just kind of, I think mainly maybe after seeing the events with the cult, and then the continuous okay, this world is very different than what I know.
Okay. Now, opportunity that might be presented to you, since you are keeping yourself with this noble bearing, and you also happen to be a hulking mass of armor going down the street. I think some of the nobility, or some of the merchants at least, of Neverwinter would sort of say, how soon is your contract coming due? And maybe give you an opportunity there if mercenary work isn't for you, how would you like to become a member of our household, and kind of present you with that. Are you looking for that sort of opportunity? So there's a temptation there.
Oh, yeah. I would say I'm not.
Okay.
I more my goal is that now that I'm done,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do some kind of soul searching and see the world.
Got it.
And yeah.
And they see that you want to leave, and they're trying to entice you back. They're trying to keep you here. They're like, you don't have to patrol the streets. We could set you up in this nice shady spot right here next to this marble fountain. You could guard our house and look all impressive. We'll get you some nice burnished armor there. Would you like a nice crest? We could do a nice crest kind of thing. So that's temptation is there. Loktar, aside from getting your summer shave on, what are you doing?
I think Loktar's got a seed that was planted in him ever since we were in those tunnels, and I encountered that he had no respect for the cultist as an individual, but he did envy the fact that he had a one-on-one, kind of connection to his god, and Loktar doesn't understand why he doesn't have that. So he's kind of really delving into that and obsessing over it a little bit, and kind of praying to the gods and trying to get them to notice him, and asking them what can he do to gain their favor and get their recognition on a more personal level.
Let me ask for a clarification on that one. Which gods are you looking to gain the favor of? Because the goblinoid gods are definitely of the kill things and sacrifice them to us variety. Are those the ones you're looking for information or for attention from, or are you looking for it from other ones?
Yeah, I think those, but he's not going to turn into a bloodthirsty, murderer running around, raging around the city or anything like that. But how could he? I mean, he may be curious. What would they think of this upstart Vecna? Do they have any feelings about him one way or the other? Or perhaps he could prove himself by disrupting whatever that guy has going on, that type of thing.
Okay. So, are you talking in a vacuum and only hearing yourself talk, or are you trying to find other bugbears, goblinoids, etc., to get some advice from? Because
I think he
none
heard a
of
lot
the
of that
humans in
growing
town
up.
are like, "Hey, I speak for the bugbear gods." You're gonna have to go find a group of bugbears to ask them about that.
Yeah, I
Is
think
that
he heard a lot of that growing up, but it was told almost like fairy tales and folklore, and oh, so and so's lazy and naps all day. That's because Grankle is sapping his energy to stay awake, or that type of thing. But he never really knew of anyone who. Uh, they all agreed that they exist, but none of them seemed to have any first-person knowledge or experience
sure?
with any of the Trinity there.
So I think the thing you'd come away with from there, um, the clergy that you will speak to, say that they can get you in touch with a better god, a different god, whether that happens to be Ogma or Maliki or whoever it happens to be. What you need to do is you need to speak to the voice of and ears of a god, which are the clergy. You obviously don't have a very powerful god, or they would have clergy here. So how about we get you, a new god? So the people in town are always steering you towards those near gods. To get an answer, or at least to hear voices other than your own, you're gonna have to maybe travel a little bit and pull that in as your next round. I think that brings us to fall for everybody. Congratulations, you have all earned your certificates. You are all friends of Neverwinter. Well done. Come fall, let's start in the middle here. Fortune, what were you doing a year after you were engaged by Lord Neverember?
So I think Fortune would have made his plans clear to everyone and extended invites for any who would like to travel.
Mhm.
Duren, would you allow me to make an insight check just to kind of get a feel for some of that wanderlust you have?
Sure.
That's the best way to do that. Do it on D&D Beyond. And I will use one of my psychic knacks
Sure.
to add that on there.
The hair on the back of his neck is crickling. He knows something is up, but he can't tell what.
Your whiskers are twitching.
Yep. So 15.
15. I would say you're at least picking up from what we've heard from Duren that he wants to get out of here. He's pacing. He looks like he can handle it. He's a very under control person, but you can see where his rug has a track in it that he's been going back and forth, or whatever it is that Duren exhibits, that he just wants to get out and do something. Maybe he's repacked his bedroll 16 times, even though he hasn't used it in a month, whatever that thing is.
I think in general, Fortune had already kind of taken a liking to Duren as well. So seeing that he would probably be a little extra persistent, like, hey, I'm gonna. Was Kavori? Kavori seemed like she wanted to come with, and I don't know how that would play out here. But I would say Kavori and I are going to go to the. I think it's the Shar Desolation is the closest desert.
Out that way, yes.
Yeah.
Out east over the mountains, and then there's desert out there.
Because I want to see the world, and who knows how long we'll have to do that, especially with like the eye and whenever that comes to call for us.
Sure. And I would say if you do want to engage on that, probably you would be traveling there through fall. You would plan on wintering in that area and then coming back in spring. So there'd probably be a commitment of 3 seasons to go out, spend your time, and come back. You can be doing other stuff in those locations, but you would be away from Neverwinter for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. That's
All right, cool. So in fall, Fortune is getting themselves together. They're all packed up. They're ready to go. Kavori wants to bring Delvin along. So basically, that has made arrangements there. Their year-long commitment is also up. So she says, "Hey guys, I'm going to be back. We're taking a sabbatical. Taking their savings and then heading out on this trip. Again, just trying to get Delvin back involved in the world. It's kind of where she's going with that one. Duren, are you tagging along?
I think so, because this is a long enough trip where I do get to see still quite a bit of the world.
Yep. So so you're going to get to see forest, you're going to get to see plains, you're going to get to see mountains, you're going to get to see desert, and you can even come back in on the river. So you got a pretty good swath of terrain that you're going to be covering on the way out and on the way back. Now,
Well, I was gonna say I do have some things for when we come back,
sure.
but
Now,
we'll get there.
to make it clear, this is not paved roads. This is adventure time as you're out there. So there
Oh,
are
yeah.
things that you're going to be encountering. Kavori is looking forward to that. Delvin is not helpless, so he still has some fighting skills to him, but it's almost weird to watch how mechanical and open he is. He knows an overhand strike and a lunge, the kind of things that there's no trickery to it. But he's still skilled at doing overhand strike and lunge.
Well, good thing I have my interception as my fighting style of that, because then I can step in. Also, I would like to know, do I get a chance to get this curse removed from me?
Sure, you can swing by the temple at any time. I'm a little surprised you've held on to it for a year.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay, then I'm gonna
I think-
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna keep the shield because all that matters is that I get the curse removed.
Correct. So if the
I was
curse
gonna
is,
say I think Loktar. Oh, is it? Oh, the curse is removed from the shield. I thought it was just removed from you.
so the curse is
I kind of
removed
wanted
from
that
you.
curse.
So let me clarify what happens with the shield. The curse is removed. You are no longer a target, but you also no longer have the resistance. It is still a magical shield as a magical shield, but there's no advantages to it unless you bind yourself to it. So if you do bind yourself to it, you get your resistance to ranged attacks back, but you also become the target for everything. So you have that as a thing you could do. It's also a shiny magical shield, so it won't melt for oozes, that kind of thing. So Fortune and Duren are getting ready to go. Kavori and Delvin also getting ready to go. With all of this to do, I would imagine Las-Dal, Telovere, and Montgomery are at least aware that it's happening. Las-Dal, Telovere, Montgomery, Loktar, are you doing anything as this fall journey is setting out?
Yes, but not in relation to the actual journey. So
Sure.
I can wait if there's anything that people are doing in relation to that first.
I was thinking Loktar might, if allowed, tag along just to have more opportunity, because the city probably doesn't offer much opportunity to prove himself. I mean, aside from brigands and things that are kind of beneath him in his eye, he thinks to go out in the wilderness again and face some hopefully formidable threats. Can
So
prove his strength.
So Kavori's not going to be the
Fortune-
one to say you're not allowed to sitcom.
No, Fortune's been asking you, like,
Okay.
this is the first time Fortune's had friends in a kind of very different way, and he has asked all of you multiple times if you'd like to come, like very enthusiastically. You've seen him like get more confident and more open as time has gone on in the year as well.
You're like, bro, I'm trying to book this hotel, so you need to let me know.
Exactly.
All right. So
There's going to be
Loktar's,
so much adventure.
Loktar's tagging along. Las-Dal, Montgomery.
Las-Dal is not going to go, but he is going to have a parting package for Duren.
Okay.
He's going to have a violin, so he can learn to play it as he's traveling, and a pair of short swords were created for him,
Cool.
so he can use those.
Got it. So basically what I'm hearing is you are giving the most annoying instrument to someone who's a complete novice to make sure that Fortune and Loktar and Kavori have a terrible time on this set. Got it. Plan achieved. Montgomery.
I feel like every time that I take out the violin, I have to make some kind of roll to make sure I don't accidentally crush it in my giant hand.
I have visions of Sherlock Holmes trying to play the violin in my head now.
I give Duren the violin. I'm sorry. The swords are for names.
Loktar,
the-
Fortune, Montgomery,
Kavori.
Kavori.
Devlin.
Devlin. There we
Devlin.
go.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We're giving him swords?
Yes.
Yeah, he
The-
can
the-
lunge, remember?
Yeah.
The men knew how to fight, so
And sorry, Delvin, not Devlin.
Delvin.
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 Montgomery, though, joining them on the travel or doing something else?
Well, so at the beginning of this season, one night I'm going to call everyone together at our favorite tavern there with our ghost show that everyone seems to like.
Sure.
Falling Tower?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Fallen Tower.
Falling Tower. Yeah, that's it. And I'm going to Fortune. I thank you for the invite, but I cannot go. I'm actually going to leave the city now that I've completed my year of service, and I'm going to head to the War Wizards of Cormyr to begin my training there. That's where my calling is taking me. Otherwise, I would go with you. You guys have been a great group. I mean, I've learned so much from you. I mean, like at the time with the cultists, how I followed all of your instincts that you guys have and led us to victory. I mean, it's wonderful. I'm going to miss you all.
You can-
and who knows? We might.
You can come with us a little bit. It's going the same direction. We could follow along the roads to the south and split up when you need to continue east past the Dales.
Yeah,
Yeah, as long as it's in the same direction, I could travel with you then for a while.
yeah. I think like as
Yeah,
Fortune
that
says
would
that,
work.
like maps just come out. Whoomph. We could.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Where did you get this?
Libraries. They're incredible.
Got it. So that brings us to Telovere, who's doing something not that. Telovere, what are you up to?
So in the time between like kind of trying to get himself a little bit more wizardly in a
Mhm.
way, Telovere spends the fall actually doing like a full three months of research into Vecna's cults. And
Okay.
I mean like the history, like as detail oriented as he can, trying to delve into as many secrets as he possibly can in relation to them.
Sure. We will give a bit more of a lore dump on that when we get back together, because I'm sure you're going to share some of that. Things that you are able to fairly quickly learn. You learn a little bit about Vecna's history. You learn about how he rose up in power as a lich, how he was destroyed by Kaz the Bloody-Handed, the rumors of the hand and the eye that survived, Kaz's sword that survived, how he rose up into godhood, how he's challenged several gods, how he tried to overthrow the universe, and all these things are basically the fodder that is fed into the cultists to say how great this god is. And he's the god of dark secrets, so think of what more he must have that you don't know. If that's what you know, and he's the god of secrets, think of what you don't know. That's going to continue over time, building up. Now,
What?
the cultists' activity in Neverwinter, there's too many of them. There's cults of everybody trying to get in here. There's rogue necromancers that keep trying to set up shops where you want to set up your shops. There's bugbears trying to try to set up, idols to gods of all sorts of stuff. There's people trying to get involved in the nefarious trades. All this sort of stuff is going on. There's adventures all over the place. Craziness is happening. So there's no one big stronghold of Vecna's cult, and they're blended in amongst the people, just like all the other cults out there. So there's cults to Shar, there's cults to Tiamat, the dragon god. They're all just scattered about. Everybody's got a little side hustle, it seems like. You can't throw a rock for hitting a cultist. But the ones of Vecna are very good at hiding. It's their thing. So you are tracking down information. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but yes, research accomplished.
I imagine at some point I hear about this bugbear starting like a blood sacrificing cult from one of my contacts who's blown it completely out of proportion, like they're armies of goblins in the deep. And I'm just like,
yeah,
thank you for that.
Yep.
And then I go to Loktar and say, you got to quit this. Or you got to move it underground. Like,
that's maybe like the
muddy in
last
the
piece of
waters.
advice before Loktar heads out.
Takes it on the road.
Yeah, like maybe you want to like head out till the heat's a little cooled down here, buddy. It's
Like,
getting noticed. So in winter, some of you are continuing.
Something I would have been doing. I probably would have bumped into Telovere while he was doing his Vecna research, and I probably would have tried to coordinate and work with him, learning secrets and maybe learning about other cultists of Vecna.
Sure, absolutely. You will between the two of you, you will turn up small cells of them So, you're capturing them. They seem to be up to no good, but none of them have that ritual that was going on. They're all just like starting to kind of get things organized, and you're disrupting them as you go, kind of knocking them down as soon as they pop their heads up. But it's a constant game of whack-a-mole with all the other issues that are happening. Those of you who are interested in the graveyard, same kind of situation there. You can't put out the fires fast enough for them to start resurfacing there, because the town is just so welcoming of anybody who's willing to be here. I mean, if you think of the 6 of you who showed up and they're like, here's money and a badge, they're still doing that. And not everybody who takes the money and the badge are the right kind of folks. So heading into
Whack a
winter,
skull.
Las-Dal, having given away the violin and the short swords to make sure that their travels are entertaining, what are you doing during winter?
Studying, probably definitely looking more into occult activities, learning as much as he can off of anything they have found already. He's just delving as much as he can into secrets and anything that could help shine a light towards the Vecna's
Sure.
secrets.
So you are a lore bard who is associated with the library. Fair statement?
Yes.
Okay.
He enjoys learning, and
the thing you want, even though you might not want it, like the book that has every answer that you could possibly want about this topic, is called the Book of Vile Darkness. It is an artifact that was penned by Vecna itself. It has every wicked thought that has ever occurred to him. It's out there somewhere. Others have edited it, others have added to it, but it's always kind of lingering around. And it's a myth. Even back in Candlekeep, you would have heard reference to it. And everybody's like, I mean, we have sworn never to destroy knowledge, so we should be allowed to read it. Are you old enough? And like the elves are like, I don't know, like NC 300 for someone to read this book here. But it's out there. There's a tome of vile darkness penned by Vecna himself. That would be the gold standard for this information that you're after.
He may have heard a whisper of something of where it may have been.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to head out and look into that information and see if he can continue tracking it.
Got it. And I'm going to say you're going to find people who say that they knew people who said that they heard of a person who read it. But you never managed to get more than like 3 steps to Kevin Bacon.
Yep.
So that's kind of where you are, but that pursuit's ongoing. Fortune, Loktar, Duren, what are you up to during your travel?
Well, I was definitely thinking we could, after the session, probably write up a few adventures that happen,
Sure.
just to have that. But in the meantime, I mean, first I think we start with Montgomery, heading southeast until we part ways, probably along the Dragon Coast or somewhere a little bit before that.
Mm-hmm.
I think doing like helping out and also investigate like any secrets that we might find or anything related to what we've experienced. What do you all think?
No, I definitely agree. Right now, I'm just kind of along for the ride.
Okay. So let me ask it this way. You are traveling through dangerous lands, so no matter what you try and do, you're going to encounter bandits and wyverns and treants and things that you're going to have to deal with in one way or another. But as you're making that, are you a roving band of do-gooders hearing about the troubles of the land and trying to fix it? Are you just trying to get by to get from point A to point B, and things are happening to you on the way? Or do you, have a particular thing that you want to do? You want to see vistas, of course, so you want to get to that top of the mountain. You want to get out to the desert. So destinations are important. But what's your interaction like along the way? Are you looking to make a little money, do a little trade? What's the thing you're doing as you're journeying?
I do think you'd both be holding Fortune back every now and then because he would get excited about any kind of rumors or, oh, there's a mausoleum over here that has a ghost that comes out at midnight. You'd be like, let's go check that out, and you're like, no, probably don't have time for that. Yeah, that's kind of how I
No, I
see
think
Fortune
actually
Maverick.
Loktar would probably be all. He would encourage that activity because he's out to
I
prove
know.
himself. So if you want to go see something scary and dangerous, let's go. If there's a fork in the road and one side has daisies and fawns feasting on grass, and then the other side is all those wyverns and things that you were talking about there, let's go left.
All right, so I'm hearing.
You want to experience the wilderness?
I'm hearing impulse control says one way. Impulse control agrees. Duren, are you the voice of reason, or are you also following impulse control?
I am controlling impulses
Okay.
by grabbing them.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, stop. I say we help when we can, but we're not looking to help.
Okay.
Like, we're not going out of our way. But if we come upon a village and it's getting attacked, we'll do what we can.
Sure. Sounds good. So when you see the sign that says "World's Biggest Skein of Yarn," and you're like, "Ooh, only 3 days out of the way," you're like, "Maybe we'll get that on the way back if we have time." And you kind of steer them over there. But you see a carriage that's broke down on the road. You help the carriage out. You see a dragon, in the middle of the road. You might be like, "We should wait a little bit. Maybe the dragon will leave." So you're doing realistic things, but you do get caught up in some adventure along the way. Just crossing the mountains, you're probably going to see some giantkin. So there's going to be some ogres, there's going to be some hill giants, that sort of stuff that you'll be, sizing yourselves up against. Some you might be able to negotiate with. Some it's going to come to fisticuffs.
Yeah, I can talk to giants, so we're good.
There you go. Now that's got most of us there. Montgomery, what's winter looking like for you?
So yeah, I'll travel with the group as far as as far as it's feasible. And before then, yeah, if anybody needs help, that's fine. And if I happen to find out a little bit more, I might try and steer them in that direction, right? Because law and order needs to be maintained, right? Especially these little outlying villages and people and communities, right? They need all the help that they can get. But once that's happened and it's at the point where I need to part, then that's where I'm going to head to Cormier, and I will continue that same thing, probably even more so, right? Because they seem more focused on their journey than wanting to help, but I would help more on the way.
Sure. Sounds good. And then, so by the end of the winter, you've made your way to the Cormier. You've introduced yourselves to the War Wizards. You now have your certificate of authenticity from Neverwinter to give a little bit of oomph to the claims of the lineage that you have. So you get yourself accepted into there in a fashion. You're not in the army, but you're training along with them at that point. Telovere, what's winter like for you?
Cold.
It is cold.
I huddle in my catacombs. I spend most of winter trying to build a network of sorts.
Okay.
So trying to spread eyes and ears throughout the city and build my own influence, not just within the folks that necromancers usually associate with, but also talking with caravan hands, making contacts there, trying to get it a slow but steady trickle of information so I can start really getting to the lifeblood of the city.
Sure. Now, to establish that network, you're going to have to offer some benefit to them. Benefits could be things like trading secrets for secrets. It could be services that you provide. It could be that you've got gold and they don't. What is the benefit or the trade that you are offering? What are the services you provide?
I think I mostly focus on, secrets for secrets, trying to tease out the bigger ones by offering small breadcrumbs, but also trying to become more of a magical fixer in a way.
Okay.
So like if you need something done and you don't have access to, I don't know, an assassin, they can come to me and I can be like, you can go to this guy. Where's my money?
Okay. Okay, so you're acting as a talent connection as well, a
Yeah.
fixer of sorts. Perfect. All right, cool. So I've got a good idea what you're doing there. I think we hit everyone up for winter so far, so that brings us back around to spring. Spring, those on the journey would be starting to make their way back. So you've spent your time in your destination. Montgomery, you might be spending an extra little bit of time there for your training before you head back if you want to. But what's happening in spring? Let's start with Duren for this one. So Duren, on the way back, probably. What things are you looking to do?
Yeah. Um, while we're on our way back, we encounter a group of children being terrorized by kind of like a local warlord kind of guy
Okay.
in a village. And that seeing these children being terrorized kind of sparks that paladin in me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it brings back that kind of sliver of joy I had protecting what I believed in. And so, of course, we're going to kick this guy's ass.
Okay.
And I'm going to roll real quick to determine if I use one of my powers.
Okay, sure. Fire away.
And the 13, so I do not.
Okay. He was there. He deserved it. He was scum. But you reached out and you decided not to.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, the rest of you, there was a bit of a scuffle. You may or may not have involved yourselves in it, depending on how much Duren was convincing as he headed off in that direction. Let's.
100%.
Oh, okay.
I'm helping.
Fortune was all in, bounding along on this one. Fortune, is there anything else that you were doing come that season?
Fortune's very appreciative to have Loktar and Duren along, so anything they want to do, he's generally for it. He definitely would pull, like, on the way back, try to go to Coromir.
Okay.
One, to see if we could catch up with Montgomery, and two, just to see this other city that Montgomery was so excited about. Yeah, I think he would be pretty insistent on doing that as a stop on the way back.
Sure. I think Kivori would be all for it. You guys kept in motion pretty well, so you should be able to get back on time even with that detour. Who am I looking for? Loktar. Loktar, are you on board as well as Duren with this detour down to Coromir? Sure.
More of the world I haven't seen.
All right.
Loktar would delight in the opportunity to flay the warlord there and make an example of him.
Sounds good. So I will say, Montgomery, have you shared any of your past adventures with the War Wizards of Coromir? Would they know that in the past you were associated with a small giant, a furry bugbear, and a feline adjacent creature?
Yeah, I would say that would come out just
Okay.
in natural conversation and sharing backgrounds and experiences and those type of things.
So I would say at some point in spring, one of your associates, one of your friends that you've made in Coromir, kind of comes up to you and says, "Hey, those fellas that you were talking about, the Tabaxi one, did he have kind of like a white patch over here and wore his ears through his hood?"
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And that lock one, bugbear fella,
Loktar?
yeah. Didn't like clothes?
Not really.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
We're all just lucky he hasn't shaved in a while.
Yeah. So, they're in town. Do you know why?
They're in town here?
Yeah.
Oh no, I have no idea. I honestly didn't expect to see them again.
Yeah.
Unless I went back to, Neverwinter or something.
Yeah, Neverwinter, yeah. Because they also had Friends of Neverwinter certificates. And would you mind just swinging on down the gatehouse and sort of smoothing things out, maybe vouch for them? Because they're real suspicious looking. Just, what you explained before, I just did not visualize it quite as the reality that it is.
Yeah, we were an interesting group, yes.
Yeah.
All right, which gate are they at?
And they point you over towards the gate.
Yeah.
We roll up in there, and the guards are being sort of polite. They have the right paperwork, but at the same time, it's a tabaxi, it's giantkin, it's a bugbear. Actually, it's a bugbear up here somewhere. And then there's like 2 humans in the background. They're being like, no, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah, these are friends of mine. I can vouch for them. We all served together in Neverwinter.
Oh,
Is there some issue going
Montgomery!
on?
I mean, okay. And so they'll let you know. Now, Montgomery, aside from that reunion, what else might you have been doing in your springtime? Were you getting ready to go out, or were you staying the extra season?
Oh no, I was planning on staying the extra season.
Okay.
Yep.
So these 3 show up trying to spoil your plans. Would you like to head out with them? Encourage them to stay? What's your plan for the spring?
Well, yeah, you guys just got here. You should stay for a while. Besides, I still have some training that I'm working on anyway. I really can't leave right now. And in fact, what are you guys doing here?
Wanted to check out the city and say hi? Never
Wow,
been to
that's pretty cool.
Coromir, so might as well come by and got a friend here, so.
I wish to be Purple Dragon Knight.
Yeah, actually, that's on my list of things to do too. Did you say B or me?
I was joking. I wish to be, yeah.
You should
Yeah,
have seen
that's
him kick this warlord's ass recently, though. Oh, it was incredible.
really. I'm sure you guys have some great tales to tell. I haven't done much here. I've just been studying. I've been practicing, reading more up on Arcana, trying to get these types of spells down. It's taken a lot. I have met somebody though. Her name is Sally. She's pretty
Oh.
nice.
Well, you have to introduce us to her.
Yep.
Sure.
She
Now,
works down at one of the local taverns I hang out at.
now I will say, while Montgomery is saying, I've only learned a little bit, the rest of the people that you might speak to about Montgomery is like, I don't know what kind of prodigy he is. He showed up like last week and he couldn't cast a prestidigitation. I saw him throw a fireball 2 days ago. So you guys have been growing explosively compared to the rest of the populace for what you've been doing. So I don't know what your favorite anime is, but if you've got an anime and you've got a protagonist and that protagonist goes whoop power level, that's what Montgomery has accomplished, whether he realizes it or not. So should you have to talk around there. Montgomery, though, aside from Sally, who you've been meeting, what else has spring brought to you?
Um, that's actually pretty much it. Just
Okay.
been studying, nothing else. Definitely don't want to use the powers. Actually, I try very hard not to think about the powers.
Sure.
You
You
know,
definitely
and
you
in
should
some ways,
definitely
I'd
keep
like.
those powers secret. Lock it away
Yep.
down deep.
Yep.
Las-Dal, I don't think I asked you about spring yet.
He's continuing his search of whispers and just seeing what he can find and information.
Sure. Do me a favor, roll me a persuasion check, if you would. But blink, a 10. A 10 is not going to get you a reputable lead on such an artifact. So searching around, you are uncovering more and more information. You're becoming educated on the situation, but you don't get that solid lead that's really going to uncover more than the little cells that you've been rooting out. And you've been doing a good job of that process over time. So I think that was everyone for spring. Telovere, did I get you for spring?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, what do we got for spring for you?
Mostly just the same thing as previously, trying to expand my own network and really like pad out my influence in Neverwinter.
Sounds good. That will bring us round to summer. Kavori kind of gives you guys the side eye, like I thought this was just a quick stopover. We're really going to need to get back. So she's going to be heading back out towards Neverwinter with or without you all. What are you all doing come summer? Let's start off with Montgomery, who I want to know more about this Sally person. Montgomery, what's going on in summer for you?
So again, yeah, he just keeps at his studies, and then whatever, if the Council of the War Wizards have something to be done, then he will be doing that work. The more times he spends with Sally, the more closer they end up becoming, and in fact, at some point he's going to end up wanting to, because he's just planning on staying here, right? He's not planning on leaving, so he's going to end up eventually asking her for her hand in marriage to see if she will reciprocate. I also thought it might play interesting into the backstory, if whatever happened. Me as a player, I know that we're going to be drug into this big adventure, but right now he doesn't realize that, and it wouldn't be. He just thinks he's going to be here at the War Wizard College. He's going to be doing things here. He'll be staying around this area, so starting a family here isn't going to be risky.
And Montgomery, remind me, your household had some nobility to it, but you did not take the noble background. So the house has basically fallen, it's lost its noble status, correct?
Yeah, I mean they weren't quite noble, but I mean they were respected, right? They had done this for many generations, caring for the dead and those procedures and the graveyards and providing a service, in Tilverton, for many generations. And then I still have some extended family out there, but I've totally lost touch with them, right? And they're like 3 generations removed, I think, at this point. So,
Got it. So then I'm gonna ask this in the rude and blunt way. Would Sally be marrying up, marrying down, or marrying level if she were to marry you?
I would think probably leveling up.
Okay, sounds good. And you seem like a fairly suave and persuasive individual, so I think the relationship would be going well. Is there anything I should know about Montgomery that would make him a bad catch?
Other than he's all about the law. So like if she broke the law, he would turn her in, for instance. Right? No matter how painful the law is, he's going to stand by it. It's probably one of his weaknesses in some way, or
okay.
It depends on how you look at it, right?
Sure.
It,
I can see that. All right. Roll me a quick persuasion check just to see how well the proposal goes. Now, if you do badly, this doesn't mean the relationship's off unless you roll a critical 1, in which case I'll check and see maybe something came up here. 10. So,
right in the middle of the road.
Right in the middle of the road. Yeah. But maybe we should make sure we've got some things in line first. Finish up school, that kind of stuff, then we'll get married. Let's get through these things that are taking up our time before we start a family, because, that's a plan. And I think that maybe appeals to her because I'm assuming that you went after someone who's got that same orderly mentality of you, and there's a way to do these things. And yes, absolutely, we could be betrothed, to be engaged, to be married, but we're still at the betrothal point. Fair?
Sounds good.
All right, cool.
Yep.
But moving along there, I will say if you want to pursue that into fall, yes, we can tie that one up at that point. Other summer activities. Fortune, Loktar, Duren. Are we heading back or are we hanging out?
Oh, I think definitely heading back after a bit, right?
Yeah.
Loktar separates from the group. I mean, he lets them know first. He doesn't just disappear, but
Okay.
he says there's something he has to do, and he's kind of vague and close to the chest about it. And but there's something he just needs to do to prove himself, and he needs to do it alone.
All right.
And he just heads off.
Loktar does.
He'll see them back at the city.
All right. Loktar heads off for a
Once it is
mystery
done.
engagement. Let's see here. Duren and Fortune, sounds like you're going to be heading back. Kavori and Delvin will accompany. Anything special you would like to do on your last leg of the journey back?
I think Fortune might take the chance to sneak into Waterdeep and just kind of, instead of using the clairvoyance, he thinks he's capable of slipping in and out of the city without anyone recognizing him, especially since he's probably not quite the same as he was originally.
Okay. Are you going to try and convince the rest of the party to come with you, or are you breaking away to do this on the sly?
I think he's probably a bit cagey and not sharing this info for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be up to Duren if he would try to pull that out of Fortune or not.
So Duren is Fortune's trying to slip away. What are you doing there? Loktar had his project. What are you up to?
I would say that, if we're making a stop in Waterdeep, I'm just here to see the city. If you have your own business to take care of, go ahead and take care of it. It's not my business to, delve into your personal life. If you wanted me to know, you would tell me.
He definitely would have mentioned before about his. Well, actually, no. I'm gonna hold on to that secret for now.
Okay.
So no, yeah, he will go ahead and do this kind of. He'll break away for like a day and then come back after having just checked on people.
I got a hotel, 2 queen beds. You can come whenever you want.
Perfect.
You got it. Las-Dal, what are we up to for summer?
Las-Dal would have picked up some information and infiltrated a cultist group and taking his time learning what they know, seeing where this takes them.
Got it. Las-Dal is undercover. Telovere.
I think a lot of what Telovere does now is just try and solidify himself in the magical aspects of the city, especially since he's a newcomer, that he's having to like really fight against every other wizard that's in the city right now.
Yep.
Try and figure out like where he sits in comparison to everyone else. So basically making himself useful as much as he can.
Gotcha. Sounds good. So, come fall, you will each receive a message. That message comes in several forms depending on where you are and how easy you are to find. Montgomery, you've established yourself within the lands of Cormyr, you receive a missive. Those of you that were on journeys like Las-Dal and maybe undercover, you receive a message directed to your head. Duren, Loktar, Fortune, if you've made your way back to the city of Neverwinter, you'll receive a message there. Telovere, as a fixer in Neverwinter, one of the your contacts comes in and indicates this. Lord Neverember is looking to speak with you 6 specifically. Las-Dal, you've probably heard rumblings recently that the cult of Vecna is becoming active again in Neverwinter. They have a mission this time. It's going to be concerted effort. Telovere, you don't hear that it's specifically the cult of Vecna. You're not entrenched with them, but there's activity going on. There's things being purchased. There's things being asked for. There's something big happening. Now, you're keeping a moderate eye to make sure that things don't explode in your face, so you're not selling enormous quantities of bat guano to people. But there's something going on. More people are asking for knuckle bones than are reasonably set there. As a
Okay.
friend of Neverwinter, Lord Neverember is asking you to return, to repay the favor that was granted to you years ago, or a year ago. Please make yourself available. It is urgent. And you have been selected specifically by augury and divination as critical to the success of this mission and to your own safety. Is anyone not showing back up at Neverwinter over the course of the next season?
You don't show up, I'll find you.
I will help him find you.
Okay. So the party starts to gather themselves back together. You get a chance to reintroduce yourselves. You get yourself set back up. Kavori and Delvin welcome you back. You have a little households for those of you who don't have already, and you've got rented rooms. You're now much stronger and much more respected. So those little hovels that they had you in before look like the hovels they are compared to the rooms that are being presented to you. You're not set up in the noblest of nobles, but they're not saying go have a drink at the Falling Tower anymore. They're saying why don't you come up here to the higher class part of town. You might prefer to go to the Fallen Tower. That's up to you though. As you are reintroduced to the area, you're brought before Lord Neverember. This time, the summons chamber is in his modest villa in Neverwinter, not a cluttered little room in the Hall of Justice. Several local guards are present, as well as 3 priests of Ogma. You recognize them by their attire and their set. As you come in, Lord Neverember is talking. He sees you as you come in. Ah, greetings, my heroic friends. I'm so glad you came. I dare say terrible events are afoot. Specifically, 4 prominent citizens have been kidnapped. May I count on your help to rescue them?
Of course, looking back at the rest of the group.
Why would we not assist you with this?
Well, we've been apart for some time, and you are no longer directly in my employ. While you are friends of Neverwinter, friends are fickle sometimes. I am glad to see my friendship is not misplaced in you. Now,
You
No,
have
it
my
hasn't been
soul.
misplaced.
splendid.
That's very kind of you. Appreciate it, Lord Neverember.
Excellent. Now, I know some of you have continued to do work on to benefit our city, and I hope you will share that expertise with those here. The kidnappings that I mentioned have been growing similar to what we saw 2 years ago. There are indications that similar forces may be involved. There are 4 who have gone missing of late. Eldon Keyward, Indra Lamonsettle, Cecile Malinoche, and Umberto Noblin. I'll give you those in a little bit. They are
Thank
pillars
you.
of our society. We've set guards to that and issued auguries, magical inquiries. What we found is within Neverdeath Graveyard, a particular location, Halleck's Mausoleum. Our auguries lead us in that direction, but then they are, I'm told, blocked, as if some force beyond the ability of our clerics and our arcanists to see through is obscuring it. This is similar to what happened to us 2 years ago. Now, your reputations have grown, as I can see have your skills. I'm hoping I can ask you to investigate this with the knowledge that you have before, and I am told the auguries have indicated you are best suited to deal with this. Have you any questions at
Yeah.
this time? Yes, splendid. I enjoy your enthusiasm so much.
They've been taken to the graveyard again.
Yes. Unlike the catacombs incident before, which was down by the docks and off to the west, I believe it was. It's been some years. This seems to be in the center of the graveyard near the Halleck's mausoleum. Um, the dead guides can point you in the direction, or and he gives a little, if you would, someone comes over and says, you're going to go back over here, turn right, turn left, go back there. That's where the mausoleum sits. Now, some of you have spent some time and you recognize the Halleck's mausoleum. It's a rather stately affair. It's somewhere that, boy, man, if you could have only just gotten inside there, you could have set up a swanky spot. But it was never quite clear. You were never on the market at the right time.
It was prime real estate, y'all.
Rhyme.
Prime real estate, and they took it. That bastard from Waterdeep. I apologize. I let my cursing get away from me there.
That's okay. That is totally acceptable. So
this is more targeted on like the original kidnappings.
yes, it seems as though they're aiming for notables within our town, as compared to the somewhat random occurrences that happened before.
I have spent some time at the mausoleum, and I have yet to see any presence of these. Last time I heard, it was in the employ of a wizard from Waterdeep. When did this change hands?
Lord Emperor is like, to my knowledge, the mausoleum hasn't changed hands. There hasn't been a sale in the mausoleum, and there's sort of a quick discussion that, oh no, you mean, yes, no, the Neverdeath graveyard has not been fully recovered yet. Unfortunately, the skeletons and zombies that still roam there prevent anyone from truly tending to the graves. The dead guides do what they can to keep them at bay and keep things set, but it is on the budget that we're going to, yes, we should be addressing that in the near future. And you get a little bit of a political answer from him that he's just not spending the money yet.
And you see me kind of like nod, like, yes, I'm totally listening, and then go look at the others and go, just shake my head, like, no.
Fortune rolled his eyes a little bit, like discreetly as possible, but
And you recall that you were offered pretty base salaries for your time as mercenaries, and he seems to be hiring pretty base rate mercenaries. That's still what's sort of patrolling the streets. In the 2 years since, there hasn't been a real guard force built up, things like that. Things have been improving, but it doesn't seem like he's very outgoing with the cash flow. He prefers to still play on the cheap.
That's Lord Neverember for you. I don't say that out loud.
Fair.
I say that in my head.
Yep.
you and I have the psychic whispers going on the whole time.
If we do, I'm like, the mausoleum is not under anyone's control. Last I heard, it was a necromancer from Waterdeep. He stole it from under me. I still say that auction was rigged.
Well, we'll just have to rectify that.
Nah, probably not. I can never hold it anyway. Regardless,
So what kind of compensation package are you offering for us taking care of the situation?
Well, I think it would be entirely reasonable to pay a sum of 1,000 gold coins for each of the notables who are recovered intact and in good health. I would say, while less desirable, if their bodies can be recovered intact, then you would receive 500 gold coins. Any of the remains that can be recovered, 100 gold coins.
So if I chop them into more than 10 pieces, I can make more?
No. Though clever, I like the way you think.
Telovere gives him a look of like, "You're not wrong, but like, really?"
It's a clever turn of
So,
phrase.
how long has it been since the first kidnapping and the last kidnapping?
It's been 4 days since the most recent kidnapping. We sent for you as soon as we realized that the cult was active within the area. The auguries that we've cast for those who were lost earlier have only yielded woe. We do not believe they remain alive at this point. Eldon, Indrana, Sarsiel, and Umberto, we believe, can still be saved. Any others you find, we would of course reward you for.
Shall we
And what
go?
of their killers? Should we bring their bodies and receive like rewards?
I would think any cultists that you were able to dispatch, 10 gold for those who are dispatched, 25 gold if you bring them to us alive so that we can question them.
Fair enough
Okay,
offer.
but that is what they want. They want us to bring them in. They love being questioned because they love being smug about it and putting their little secrets in their chests. So keep that in mind when you're interrogating them.
Understood, understood. I leave that to your discretion to choose whether they are of value, and you have a 15 gold incentive for the hassle of bringing them back alive.
Understood.
Now, time is of the essence. The auguries indicate that you should move quickly now that you have gathered. I believe you know the way to Neverdeath Graveyard. Do you have any other questions? Otherwise, I wished you the very best.
I don't have any other questions.
Not at this time, my lord.
Excellent. So, you have a few minutes amongst yourselves. You're tromping your way over to the Neverdeath Graveyard through the old areas that you used to patrol, familiar grounds seen a year ago. The graveyard itself, thickly walled off, kind of the same as you left it before you went out on your journeys. You can see the skeletons and zombies that stay out of the areas near the walls where the dead guides patrol and strike them down as they can. Deeper into the graveyard, you know that they're lurking about there. Skeletons and zombies, negligible threats to you all at this point. You have that level of confidence that you'll be able to cut your way through them. Whether that's by turning fire, sword, arrow, you have your means. The mausoleum is just a little bit over there. Prior to delving into it, are there any preparations that I should be aware of that your folks would take other than the preparations we'll be doing for the level 10 level up? In that couple of minutes as you're making your way through the town, heading towards there, or any detours that you would want to say, wait, let's go get this thing or do this thing. You will have had the chance to buy all of your equipment up to this point, but is there something special that would have been held to the last moment as we start to bring tonight's session to a close?
I can't think of anything for me, so
All right, cool. Then, thank you very much for getting us through the nest of the Eldritch Eye and into our first session of the Eve of Ruin. Where we'll be picking up next week is going to be on the steps of the Mausoleum of Hallex. We will then be delving in to our adventure dealing with the cult of Vecna, who has captured 4 prisoners and is probably doing something to them as we speak. Please go ahead and level your characters up to level 10. If we have any questions, we'll take care of that in the offline. For those of us who've been chasing along in the chat there, thanks very much for hanging out. We'll be coming back with more adventures in just a little bit. Delicious powdered sugared good berries is a treat. Got to catch up on the chat there. Percy, thanks for hanging out. Good to see you. And any shout outs that anybody would like to do before we close out this evening?
It's been a lot of fun. You're all wonderful to play with.
Yeah, I was about to say, shout out to this group.
Yeah.
For showing up and having fun, boys.
Oh yeah, I
Absolutely.
can't wait till we get into the thick of things.
And I really like the little backstories that we've been able to build out here and the little add-ons that we've got going on. That's going to give me a lot of stuff to play with as we move forward. And in case you didn't pick up any of the hints, secrets are going to be important. So I'm glad to hear some of you are holding on to them. It's all right there in the back, little whispery voice saying you should hold that one in. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great one out there. Let's see, we got a raid that we can do. Alex, if you're listening along, I see you out there. Go ahead and give us a raid as we start to bring that one out. All those children are going to die now. Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe just a little bit.
Things happen. I mean, we are going into a graveyard, and somebody has been dying to cast their animate dead spell, so we'll see how that happens. You're in the right spot for it. Thanks all. We'll pick you up next week. Have a good one. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Night.